What's wrong with you? Oh, nothing. Everything's fine. You keep saying that and something's wrong. And you wish that someone would read your mind because everybody's walking on eggshells, including you, because you know that you need to have this one on one conversation. Listen up, tune in. We're going to walk through the steps that you need to take today to finally have this conversation. This is the video that you need. If you're anything like me, you were taught to anticipate, please, perform, or avoid anything that might seem like there might be tension in the conversation. Sound familiar? If this has been your story, it's time for you to realize that script, throw that away. That's a script that you have believed, that you performed. You've repeated it over and over and over again. When it actually comes time for you to actually have a conversation with someone you know that you need to have a conversation with. Now, this video is for people who are just simply trying to have a conversation. This is not a negotiation. This is having a conversation one to one person. Either it could be a boss, it could be a relationship that you're in, a spouse, a friendship, a sister brother relationship, a mother daughter, parent child relationship, whatever it is. This is the video for you if you are stuck because you don't speak up, you don't share. Now, I understand this thing called timing, that you want to have the right time. And often you're going to keep waiting for the right time because it's not the right time most of the time. And it really is a matter of you creating the time to have the conversation. So let's go ahead and say this right now. Anytime you say and you lie to yourself and you say, "Oh, I'm okay," and you know you're not okay, can you just promise me that you would acknowledge in yourself that you're lying to yourself, right? Because if you listened to the last video, we were talking about speaking to yourself, right? And you start to realize this dialogue that's happening in your head. You're not being honest with yourself, right? There's an inner critic that's inside of you that keeps telling you, stay small, anticipate, perform, please, or avoid. Yes, that's what's happening. And so when you actually get to the point where you're having this conversation, you've rehearsed it enough with those narratives in mind that it actually turns out to be confrontational. When in reality, it doesn't have to be confrontational. Now, let me tell you something. I am speaking from experience here. I have been married for over 27 years. Now, I will tell you, as a parent, as a daughter, as a mom, in an employer, an employee, all the above. I have been in these situations so many times, and I know you have too. That's the reason why this conversation is important. And this is especially important for my executive women out here who are out here leading people. You need to lead by example. If there is something wrong between you and someone that you lead, it's critical that you start talking to yourself in a manner that says, I need to honor myself and I need to honor this other person by having this dialogue, and stop sweeping stuff under the rug. Stop pretending like nothing is wrong and acting as though people need to read your mind. That's wrong. It's rude, disrespectful, and not aligned with your values and your truth. So let's get honest with ourselves today and promise ourselves that we're going to speak to ourselves in a manner that allows us to do challenging things, even when it comes to having a one-on-one dialogue. Okay? That's what we have to do. Now, I will say for myself, I have said to my husband, and I do it today. I have to catch myself because it's such a performative way of living. I have done it for so long that sometimes I don't recognize it if I don't live with a heightened state of self-awareness. I will say nothing. And actually, I say that begrudgingly because I know and he knows we've known each other for long enough that we know something is wrong. right? And it's important for me to, the more that I want to get to the end of being free instead of going through this suffering, unneeded suffering, is to the degree of my emotional intelligence. And everything that we're talking about, anytime you are in the Rise with Diana community and the Rise Advocates movement, it's all about honesty and it's all about emotional intelligence. And so today, what I want to do is I want to give you some ideas for you to encourage yourself to walk towards aligning yourself with truth and speaking up and having the one on one conversation. All of this performative stuff is out the door, even with social media, right? Because who wants to just deal with these polished videos that basically just give you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps on how to do something when you can get that from ChatGPT? Who cares? We all know, we don't even know what's real or fake nowadays. But I will tell you 100%, this is 100% real video from me to you today to have you come on and get with it. And if you can't get with me and getting real with yourself, get with something else, get real. Stop with the plastic performance. Okay. So let's get into it. And I always like to read to you from our Rise 53 Inner Circle. I believe everyone needs to be in community, and you need to be in a weekly community that allows you to be able to be self aware, to manage yourself, and to be in relationship awareness so that you can manage the people that are around you with your own living by example. So I'm going to give you 4 things that we talked about in our Rise 53 Inner Circle. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that at the end because this allows all of us to do coaching within our community and to sharpen our emotional intelligence tools. So for now, I'm just going to read to you from the weekly emails that we give within our Rise 53 Inner Circle. So here's what the first thing that I believe is necessary for you to be able to have this one-on-one conversation. I believe that you have to honor space with someone, and you have to first, of course, ask that you can speak to them. But once you start to get to this point, I want you to acknowledge in your own mind when you're ready to have the conversation that you're going to acknowledge the space, that you're going to thank someone for taking time to make space in their lives to be in community and to acknowledge that you all are on one accord in this moment, right? So, first things first, have that in your mind and then ask if they will take time to be in that space and acknowledge it. So, that's the first step in really that you can get yourself to having a conversation. So acknowledge a space. So when someone comes to you and says, hey, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to connect with me. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you. And then pause, right? And then let the other person be able to, either they're not going to say anything, be prepared to let space breathe in that moment. Can you feel that? Like just even you acknowledging being with me here today is amazing. So thank you for being here with me today. Okay. Yeah. See, that feels good, right? It really, really does. So then the second thing is I want you to, after acknowledging the space, get right to it. Don't sit there and, talk about a whole bunch of other things. I want you to get right to your truth. Speak your truth, right? And you want to say, here's what I've been feeling. Here's what I've been thinking. Here's what I've been, and really say it. Don't try to rehearse it and make it come out pretty. Really acknowledging this, because if you listen to the last video, honesty and integrity, and when you've allowed some space to linger, uh, you've had some time to think about things, and then you come into this space and you're acknowledging this space. It's really, really great when you just right there speak your truth. Because again, as long as you're not getting into performance, avoiding, and all the things, you can speak your truth with clarity and honesty with a clean heart. So, that is the second thing that I believe is critical in order for you to be able to speak one-on-one with someone. All right. The third thing is name the need. And if you're spending time with someone, you will know what it is that you really need. And if you need to, before you get into the meeting, you can write down the one, two, or three things that you really need. And often I've had to have conversations with people to say, I just would appreciate that if you would acknowledge me sending you a message, maybe within the next 48 hours, 24 hours. That would be great. I actually write these in my contracts. I used to do negotiating contracts, and I write these types of formalities in my contracts when I am actually working with a contractor, supplier, or anyone that I'm working with, because I like to acknowledge these subtleties, these things that help people work one on one together. Because when those are honored, it makes the relationship better. And so the third thing that I want you to do is to name the need. What is it that you really need? And state that with clarity, with a sense of direction and a sense of focus and ease, because stating what you really need is clarity. It's not a negotiation. It's just stating, hey, this is what I need in order for us to be able to work better together. And then once you're after doing that, I want you to hold your ground gently. That's the fourth thing. Hold your ground gently. And here's what you can say: I understand if this is new, but it matters to me. Mm, that is such a great way to have a dialogue with someone, because sharing something, sharing your truth, sharing it with a sense of clarity and focus, but then holding your ground gently has a vibration that just allows for this flow to come through. And if the relationship is grounded in a sense of honesty and love for one another, it will come to pass that this will be resolved. And the issues that you believe are needed to be stated will actually be stated with a sense of ease and confidence. And that's the truth. Because often, if there are ulterior motives in the relationship, it'll come out in this particular situation. Or the person will hold their ground, and they'll hold it with a sense of begrudging, and really with a sense of shame, make you feel guilty, or they'll blame you for something. In those particular instances, that is on another level. And that's for another video, for another conversation, because it's really difficult to work with people that aren't willing to be in agreement with you. Right. And I really know that this is, everything we're talking about here, not only is it steeped in emotional intelligence, it's actually the acronym that we use within our Rise Advocates community called PASSION. Right. And I'm going to link a PASSION video that I've talked about. I've done it in our podcast, because usually by the time you're having this one-on-one dialogue, you will have done some assessment on yourself. You will have paused enough and gotten the space needed to be able to gain insight about this relationship. If it's a point where you know that there is going to be a lot of difficulty and a lot of confusion, even after having the dialogue, it's really important for you to take another step, which I will record in another video. But it's important for you to know that this is the best first step. This is the best first step. And the reason it's the best first step, because you've got to take this time to make this happen, and that you've done your best, right? I like to quote the 4 agreements, and I'm going to share this with you. I know I've given you the passion. I've talked about emotional intelligence, but here in the Rise Advocates movement, we are all about learning and growing. So I want to share with you about the 4 agreements, right? That's a book by Don Miguel Ruiz. And it's don't take number the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take things personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. So this step I'm telling you has a lot of that infused in this. And this right here is doing your best and greatest work. Is this valuable to you? I hope it is. And I would love to hear from you about what it is that you think. This is what keeps relationships alive. Business relationships, personal relationships, familial relationships, all the above. And if you feel a relationship that you believe is going to hurt you or going to cause harm to you, then you and I need to have a conversation, because I don't believe that that is a worthy dialogue. It's important in that particular situation to bring someone with you. That's a whole nother conversation. So if you feel like you are in harm's way, you feel like having this conversation will cause you some hurt, deep hurt, don't go for that conversation, right? We need to talk about that. So, and I would suggest either a 911 call or therapy before you actually even go there. Okay. Critical for me to be able to say that to you. Now, let's get into the Rise 53 Inner Circle. The Rise 53 Inner Circle is a weekly meetup every single Friday, but every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, these individuals who are part of this amazing circle of community of rising people is they get coaching messages just like this. And this walks you through how to get through the situations. And every month we pick a particular topic. By the listening of this video, this happens to be August of 2025. And we're talking about speaking one to one, is the first week. Speaking one to yourself. Speaking to yourself, Diana, that's week 1. Speaking one to one, week 2. Speaking one to a few, that's week 3. And speaking one to many, that's week 4. And we're going to end it with a mini TED Talk. And you're going to be able to learn how to speak in public with ease and confidence. But everything starts with speaking to yourself. And so this right here, this week, this is speaking one to one. Are you following? You picking it up? That's why the Rise 53 Inner Circle is your ticket to rising and being in good relationships, growing your wealth, working on your authentic power, and doing it with a sense of ease, flow, and forward movement. That is the beauty of being a part of the Rise 53 Inner Circle. And every single Friday we meet up. We have our Inner Circle private community, our private chat, and we make certain that the people that come into this community follow certain protocols of confidentiality, of inspiring one another, and making certain that it is a safe space for you to be able to talk psychologically, of course, making certain that psychologically this is a safe space. So check out the Rise 53 Inner Circle. We would love to have you into that. Don't go it alone. Do not go it alone. And if you do get a part of the Rise 53 Inner Circle, you will then be able to have a one-on-one with me to be able to talk through any issues that you're dealing with. Does this sound good? I love it so much. Thank you so much for being a part of our YouTube channel. And of course, as we continue to grow throughout social, we just want you in our community. If you choose not to be a part of the Rise 53, get our weekly emails. We send weekly emails to our main community. They aren't the coaching messages that you're going to be getting within the Rise 53, but you'll be a part of our community. We'll link that as well. All right, my friends, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.